Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
And we are back, and we're moving into our second conversation for today. We are still in the middle of 16 days of activism, and there are a number of activities that take place during this time, a number of issues that are being highlighted, and one of those is this particular week is being commemorated as Disability Awareness Week. So here to tell us more about the situation of people who are differently abled in the country and the work that is ongoing towards inclusion, we have Erlette Thomas, who is the manager of NARCIE with the Ministry of Education, and we have Roxanne Marin, who is the secretary of BAPDA. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Marin. Good morning, Ms. Thomas.
All right.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, we're grateful for you to be here, and it's an opportunity for us to put into perspective how things are going in the lives of people who have special needs. And let's start off by talking about what NARCIE does and what BAPDA does. A quick summary, if you will.
Okay, good morning once again. NARCIE is National Resource Center for Inclusive Education. We are responsible for children with disabilities countrywide. And so we have officers in each district from Corozal to Toledo. We have 2 officers in each district, and we have 5 in Belize City, where we work with teachers, not with the students directly, but we work with the teachers. We do assessment and we give them recommendations as to how they can work with individual students in their classroom. We also have a database, but our database, we would have only children who are clients of us. That means that those who are assessed, because there are children in the classroom with disabilities, but they're not assessed, so we don't consider them our clients. Clients are those who were referred, agreed by the parents that they were to be assessed, they're assessed, and so they become our clients.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that is what NARCIE does.
Yes. And BAPDA? Roxanne?
Right. BAPDA Belize, the Belize Assembly for Persons with Diverse Abilities. We are a community-based organization. We advocate and refer only. We advocate on the rights of persons with disabilities in this country, and we were the key organization in having the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities signed and ratified in 2011. And so we're a volunteer organization, fully volunteer. We have been in existence since 1985 under Philip Wilson, and then we re-established in 2009. Under Philip Wilson, it was the Belize Assembly for Persons with Disabilities, BAPD. It is now Belize Assembly for Persons with Diverse Abilities. And just one correction, Marlene, I am the president of BAPDA. I am a volunteer president. My profession, my 8-to-5 job as a government of police employee, I am a secretary. And so BAPDA does referrals to the different agencies depending on what assessment the member may need. We usually, before COVID, would have support meetings once a month. And at these meetings, you would have different speakers come in and discuss, maybe it's emergency, maybe it's health, maybe it's a different services human development is offering. But we would have different key speakers in at our monthly meetings. Unfortunately, due to COVID, and with our members having secondary conditions and it's more high risk for them to be exposed, we definitely are not meeting. We do have a WhatsApp chat, and so it's been very creative for members keep connected and interact with each other on their own time, aside from the chat. But the chat has enabled people to connect with each other in times of COVID. And so BAPDA at this point, even though 2020 has been very challenging with COVID, we recently completed our first project, BAPDA on the Rise. And the aim of that project was to lobby at government for implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So for 2021, we have a lot set up in store for BAPDA, Marlene.
And it's it's interesting because I see it as two different levels as well. I know BAPDA works a lot with adults, but you also work on behalf of children. And NARCIE is directly looking at inclusive education in the schools. So let me get with Erlette first. Over the years, have you seen a growth in awareness and recognition and maybe even diagnosis of children with special needs?
Yes, definitely. We have seen a growth, and I think it's mainly because of that we have officers in each district. Parents are more aware, but we still have some parents who they might know that their child that something is wrong, but they refuse to accept it. So even though we're doing more education, it's moving slowly, and it can be seen because now we have an autism group, and there are quite a number of parents in that group. We have brain awareness. We have different organizations who advocates and work for people with disability on a whole, not just children. Because our main focus, since we work for the Ministry of Education, we work mainly with children at the primary school level. However, we also assist students at the high school level and the preschool level based on recommendations and based on requests. So because we're talking a bit about it more, we're on the radio, we're on the TV, we're in the villages. We're doing sensitization during Disability Week. During Education Week, we have an exceptional confidence talent show where all our children come together. Parents are learning, and they're trying. Some of them are trying to work with us, and we try as much as possible to reach out to them. So there is a little difference, and we're moving. Moving as time goes.
And what about the openness of schools to integrate children into the education system? For a long time, we have Stella Maris, we have the school in Cayo for the deaf. I know there's one in Orange Walk that caters to special needs children. But your work is trying to get them into the classroom, kind of normalizing that children will learn differently. Where are we with that?
We have special classrooms in all districts.
Okay.
Attached to regular school, similar to that of St. Peter's Anglican in Orange Walk.
Yeah. We
have 3 schools in Corozal that works directly with us and taking the children, but we also have the regular schools who would take in our students. Most of our students are in the regular school. For example, you will find students with disability at Louisiana Government School. You will find at St. Joseph, they might take in a child who is blind. And so the schools are more open, and we always impress on them that every child have a right to an education. Yeah. And so if a child goes to a school, the child should be placed in the most enabling environment. If a child lives in Sand Hill and that child has a disability, probably the child might have Down syndrome. The child cannot afford to take the bus to come to Belize City. Then the best enabling environment is one of the school up there in Sand Hill. So that is what we do. We work with the principal, and we try to, sometimes we have to lobby with them to take them in. They would say, oh, well, maybe my school is full. But after talking to them and working with them, they usually take the students for us. And we have 2 in the Toledo district. We have 1 in Stan Creek. We have 1 in Orange Walk, and we have 3 in the Cayo district. And those are the schools that have classrooms aside for children with disabilities. But as I said, the regular schools, in almost all schools you go, you would find at least probably 1 or 2, some of them 5 students with disabilities within the typical classroom.
Wow. Now, if you were to identify areas that there are concerns or gaps that need to be filled. So we've made progress in getting some of the mainstream schools to engage children with disabilities within the classrooms. But we know that there are still lots of challenges for people with disabilities, for parents who have children with disabilities, and for the children themselves. What are the gaps that for you are most critical at this time?
Well, one of the biggest problem is for the parents to accept. And once they accept, then I mean it makes it easier for us to lobby with the teachers because teachers are open, and we have for the past year or so we have been seeing quite a number of students with autism. They're on autism spectrum, but the organization Autism Belize now, they meet on a regular basis and they talk about their children, and each child is different, so it's difficult for you to say, well, just put them in one basket. So that's an area where we need people to get training in that area to deal with the students. We do CPD on a yearly basis, and sometimes we engage universities from outside of Belize to assist us, and we try as much as possible to invite teachers, but we cannot invite everybody. And so we have school inclusion coordinators in the school that we would invite, and we trust that they would go back to the classroom and work with them. But I think, and recently, I think just last year, we have 36 students doing their masters in special education. So some of the things that we would need is coming up slowly. So we will have 36 people trained around the country who can assist with the schools.
Fantastic. Now I want to bring this over to Roxanne because this also ties into one of the activities that you have coming up on Friday. We work and we have been working in trying to gain the recognition, the understanding, the empathy, and the inclusion for children who are differently abled or require or have special needs. But these children will eventually leave the education system at 16 or 18, and they will have to engage in adult life. And this is where one of the critical gaps exists. Now, special needs in itself or diverse abilities in itself can range from a physical issue to a development issue that people can't see. What is the situation there? I know we've talked about it before, but this is a great time to highlight it. Roxanne?
Well, Marlene.
Yeah.
Well, Marlene, that's where BAPDA comes in.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before with our project this year, our key focus is to lobby at cabinet level. Yeah. It's important for the country to have representation on the global platform. It is important for the country's health organizations come together to push and to look at how we can implement not only the Sustainable Development Goals, but also the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And people, I refer to this document a lot, and people might not be understanding what's important about this convention. Because this convention speaks about all the issues that directly relates to persons with disabilities, it's important that as a country, we've made great strides in signing and ratifying that convention, best believe. The next step is now to form a steering committee, and that steering committee has to include the government of Belize. And so our next step into 2021 will be to how is it that we can establish a steering committee in Belize so that we can look at signing on to the optional protocol of the convention. And the reason why we need to do this, Marlene, is because this is what gives us as a country reporting status at the United Nations level. And BAPDA is very interactive right now with the Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum, of which Belize became a member in 2018. We had the opportunity to go to the United Nations, and that's what started the brainchild of having a Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum chapter in Belize. And this Friday's activity is geared towards inviting health organizations in Belize to log in to hear what it is that the implementation of the SDGs and the UNCRPD will look like going forward, to see how we as a country can come together and aim to have support to the government in letting them understand what it is that our population needs. Everybody is looking at different aspects. In Belize, there are several health organizations, and so it's those organizations that's coming together. BAPDA is an umbrella organization for each and every disability in the country, Marlene.
Okay.
And so for us to form this Belize chapter of the Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum is critical. And so I invite this Friday at BAPDA's activity, help the organizations to log into this to this side meeting at the Conference of State Parties.
Yeah.
Follow up to that meeting on the 15th of December, BAPDA will be hosting the first Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum Belize chapter.
Nice.
And so health organizations that log in on Friday, if you see that what we're putting forward is something in line with what it is that needs to get done for your organization also, feel free to get in contact with us. Our email address is BAPDA, BAPDA.BELIZE@gmail.com, or our phone number is 631-0724. Additionally to that meeting on Friday, Marlene, BAPDA was also being supported by NARCIE and the other health organizations for this year's committee. We're highlighting persons with disabilities in the workplace. And so for the most part, we have a very low percentage of persons in the workplace, and we're featuring this year to highlight the businesses that persons with disabilities are as capable. There are opportunities for them to be employed, and so we want business to open up their doors to persons with disabilities that are capable of high functioning employment.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's part of when I look at the landscape and when I interview groups like BAPDA, NARCIE, and we've had brain awareness group. It's one of the issues that we seem to still struggle with as a country. It's recognizing the space for persons with disabilities. I do note that, of course, you did launch your disability identification as well, so people can have a card
BAPDA
saying,
ID cards.
yeah, the BAPDA ID cards. And you did also participate in the Front at a Line campaign, which, you know, actually has to campaign for people to understand that elderly people with disabilities and pregnant women should get priority access when they're accessing a service. But
Correct.
you know, the issue of what you spoke of earlier, people who are allowed or given an opportunity to work is critical in the overall quality of life of a person who does have any sort of special needs. So they'll either be dependent on their family if they can't get work, or on their own fending for themselves. What knowledge do you have? How do you capture data to understand how people survive if they can't work? I know, for example, maybe Erlette, you know, when the kids come out of Stella Maris, some get jobs, but not all. And, you know, maybe they get some part-time work, but they don't get full-time employment anywhere.
Yes, that's so true, Marlene. We have what we do at Stella Maris, and you know, I put on the organizations when I talk.
Yeah.
What we do at Stella Maris, we do job training and job shadowing, and so for the most part, the employers would keep some of the students, especially if they do a good job. So we work with places like Brody's. We work with places like some of the carpentry shop, the chicken place, all over the place. We try to place them with barbers, and some of them would keep them, and then with hairdressers, and some of them at YMCA. We have one past student working at YMCA. We have at YWCA, and so some of the organizations are willing and open to work with us, but for the most part, some of them think that they won't give them a chance because they think that they can't produce as much, and most of the employees are looking at profit. And so when they look at profit and gain, they think that our students or our children with disabilities would keep them back and they won't produce in the workplace. But that is so not true. If we look around at some of our students who are employed, or some of my past students who are employed, they have been at some organizations, some shops, some places for more than 15, 20 years. You just need to give them a chance and to allow them to work. We have one working at the Ministry of Education for the past 5 years, and he's doing a good job. So I would just urge the public out there to give them a chance. This week for Disability Awareness Week, we have several activities planned. We started out on Sunday with a church service by Pastor Francis Wade from Belmopan, and that was very fitting because he himself, they have a pair of twins. They have a set of twins, and one of them has an intellectual disability, and with her disability, it is not seen. You wouldn't know that that she is, you know, that she is not
Special needs.
standing, or she is not because if you talk to her, if you see her, she looks typical, she looks normal. If you communicate with her, she would smile at you and she would do certain things. But when it comes to actually writing, to actually following instructions at a certain level, then you will know, something is wrong with her. And that is what we are trying to focus on, that we have people out there, you can see some of their disabilities, it's overt, and then you have some out there that you will think they're normal, and then people will criticize them and say, oh, they're not listening, or even in the classroom they're not doing what they're supposed to doing, but they're not comprehending. And hence the team Not All Disabilities Are Visible, and that's right. The international team. We adopted that from International Day of Persons with Disability. So it's not something that we came up with this year. Yeah. And apart from that, we also did a virtual motorcade where we have all the officers in the district put together, just with some of the officers at the District Education Center, probably 5 or 6 of them. And we put them together and we made one motorcade, because we want people to know, even though we might be working from home or the students are not in the classroom, we are here for them. We're still advocating for them. We still want you to know that there are people out there with disabilities that we need to focus on, that we need to include them in everything that we do. So we still went ahead and we did the motorcade. We are also doing some ebooks. That was a project for CPD where teachers, they were given a session on the different types of disabilities, and they were asked to come up with a book. The purpose of the book is for you to read and to understand what a disability is. So probably you read the book and you can look and say, oh, this is autism, or this is what happens when you have intellectual impairment. And so those books on Thursday, we will launch those books. And as Ms. Roxanne rightly said, that each department, we went out and we found some of our students who are past students who are now in the workplace, and we did an interview with them. And so we're going to showcase those so that other employers can see that, yes, we have people out there who might have a disability, but they can function, they can work, and they can do
some aspect of work that they can do.
Yes, that you have to find the ability in the person and work with that. Awesome. You have to. Yeah. And so those are just some of the things that we're doing. Different organizations are also doing different things. We have on Facebook, Inspiration Center actually put up a game that you can play, a bingo game, and all of us are working together. It's a group effort. We have BAPDA, we have Inspiration Center, we have Brain Awareness, we have Autism. They are doing a yoga session for parents and children, so that you can keep active and you can, you know. So we have quite a number of things happening. I don't know if you got an agenda.
Yes, we do. So tomorrow is the book launch and the panel discussion and a video on what our children are doing at home.
Okay.
And then, so what's
would we be able to see that sometime during the course of this week, or at least a few of the activities?
Sorry, you want to see them? Oh, some of the clips, some of the activities. Okay. Yes. Well, of course we have this conversation now, and if we get the videos, we can always share those. But I think the opportunity this morning is kind of just serving that reminder to the public as well. And while we look at the theme, as you mentioned before, not all disabilities are visible, right? And this goes to the core, I think, of what the issue is. because I remember, Roxanne, you spoke of that even with physical disabilities, people may not know. You use yourself as an example. They look at you, they think you're fully capable, or your physical abilities are normal, but you have certain things that you require differently. So how do we build that awareness? How do we start to move in the right direction where people understand that?
Platforms like this and activities like this week. As you can look at our agenda, you see that there are several activities highlighted by Autism Society. It's important that people log into the Facebook pages and learn. It's not just for people that have family members with autism, it's to sensitize the entire population. And so like tonight's activities, it's a yoga session. Everybody needs to stay healthy, everybody can exercise. And so this is about getting your mind right also. And so we invite people to log into Autism Belize Facebook page. They have the yoga tonight, they have activity Wednesday, Thursday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. And so log into the Autism Belize Facebook page, the Ministry of Education Facebook page, and BAPDA Facebook page, Brain Awareness Facebook page, and Inspiration Center Facebook page. These are all the partner organizations this week that put these activities together, and everybody shares everybody information. So we're opening to the public to log in and you can come in on the yoga session tonight. Tomorrow night is going to be a panel discussion, and so it's just about learning about autism, learning about the different the awareness of autism, the acceptance, appreciation, and how that you can identify someone with autism.
And then on Friday, we look forward to the promoting persons with disabilities in the workplace.
That is correct, and on the meeting for the Commonwealth Disabled People's Perspective.
Nice. Well, ladies, thank you once again for putting it all into perspective. This is work that is ongoing, and that we must ensure that we take the time to discuss how, not just how the organizations are doing, but more so how do we, as the wider community, how are we responding to being more inclusive as well? Any final thoughts in the commemoration of this week?
Okay,
well, we just want to put out to the public to be kind to everyone. Disability can knock at your door in the blink of an eye. In a sickness, in an accident, hereditary, it could be anything. And so you never know. Don't wait until disability knocks at your door. Reach out to someone with a disability. For Christmas this year, BAPDA has put out some letters, and so we'll be knocking on some doors. I want to say a special thanks to Grace Chaplin, Amara Avenue, and Belria Baptist Church on Kelly Street. This past Saturday, they donated 50 plates of turkey dinner to persons with disabilities. Nice. And so it's things like this, Marlene. It could be something small where you could reach out in your own way. And we say thanks to Channel 5 and Open Your Eyes and all the team that put this week's activities together. Thanks for everyone.
I'd like to say that I urge you to see the person and not the disability. The person always comes first. So there are some disability etiquette that that we would like to share sometimes with the media and other people, so that when we address people with disability, we know how to do it in a proper way so that they don't feel offended. And apart from that, I would also like to say that it starts with you. You have to change your attitude. You have to look at people with disability as people. And if you do that and you make a change, then there will be a difference. If you help one single person with a disability, you are making a difference. So let us just start by helping one person. Let us just start by accepting one person into the classroom. Let us just start by talking with someone and let them feel appreciated and help them with their self-esteem. So as people, as educators, as citizens, we just need to do our part to ensure that our people with disabilities are included in our everyday lives.
All right. Well, thank you very much as well for providing this reminder to us. Best of luck with the rest of the activities you have scheduled for the week, and of course, stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. It is Christmas season, so we're going to get into some of our programming where we'll get you ready for Christmas. And the first one, very critical one, is talking about getting the Christmas budget going. So we're going to have our friends from St. John's Credit Union coming up. Don't change the channel. We want to know how to manage your money better, and also what products and services we can take advantage of during this time. So we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.